And the last story for the day, guys, because there's not a lot of news, because everybody wants to talk about State of the Union, to be honest. Venezuela's collapse is a window into how the oil age will unravel. Not exactly. This is more about how communism will unravel. But anyway, for some, the crisis in Venezuela is all about the academic corruption of Nicolas Maduro, continue the broken legacy of Chavez's ideology, experiment in socialism under the mounting Indonesian influence of Putin. For others, it's all about the ongoing counter of democratic meddling in the United States, which has for years wanted to bring Venezuela with the huge oil reserves back into the orbit of American power, and is now interfering again to undermine the democratic elected under Latin America. I don't know if he was democratic elected. There was a lot of reports that that Venezuela, that election was rigged. So at the end of the day, I would say it's... I don't know. See, this is where I get worried. When I start siding with mainstream media, I tend to get a little concerned. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to second guess this whole Maduro thing, but anyway. So how does a country like Venezuela, with the largest reserve of crude oil in the world, end up incapable of developing them? While various elements of socialism, corruption, and neoliberal capitalism are implicated in various ways, no one is talking about the special global oil industry that over the last decade was shifted into a new era. The world has moved away from largely extracting cheap, easy crude to become increasingly dependent on unconventional forms of oil, gas, and much more different than expensive to produce. So at the end of the day, yeah, I do think it's a kind of a more than one approach. I think it's the fact that the oil market has dropped. Yes, I do think that has influenced the collapse of Venezuela. I thought he elected himself. Yeah, see, this is the interesting thing. I'm getting a lot of reports saying that he was corrupt, that the election was rigged in his favour. So I'm not... Yeah, I have heard that. And a lot of people are leaning in that way. Especially a lot of independents. But, yeah. So I have heard that the election was rigged. So, yeah. I would say it probably was, most likely was. For sure. Yeah, I would say it most likely was rigged. I don't know, I just get worried when I start siding with mainstream media, I suppose. Look, at the end of the day, regardless of what the election down there, yes, obviously the price of oil has dropped. That was obviously going through and actually helping Venezuela. They were floating their large social platforms and everything like that, their large social systems, by obviously having all this oil and selling all this oil. When the price dropped, when people stopped buying all the oil, obviously that put a lot of problems on Venezuela, because that was their main export. They didn't put more than, it's like the whole don't put all your eggs into one basket. Well, they literally did with oil. So obviously that caused problems. Also, at the end of the day as well, they have all these social programs they're trying to bring through. You literally have Maduro going through seizing property from businesses and stuff like that down in Venezuela. There's nothing more that's going to make your civilians or make your population really concerned, rather than, for example, when you start seizing government private property. If I'm a business owner in Venezuela and Maduro comes up and I'm running, say, a very successful bakery, and the government comes along and says, we're going to seize your very successful bakery and we're not going to give you anything for it, or we're going to give you buckles for it. Am I then going to turn around and reinvest into another business that the government can do that exact same thing to? No. What I'm going to do is think, well, stuff this, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to go to America, or I'm going to go to Europe or Australia or wherever it may be. I'm going to leave the country, aren't you? Because there's no point being there if you can't invest in a business and grow your own wealth, if the government's just going to come along and seize it. So I think it was a combination of fact of oil. I think it was a combination of fact of all these social programs they're trying to push through, all the government seizing of all the private property, all the private businesses and everything like that. I think it was just a recipe for disaster. Now, obviously, Russia wants to be involved down there. America is now looks like it might be getting involved in the opposite side. So yet again, we have America and Russia butting heads over another country. And obviously people are pushing for a regime change and stuff like that. But as for him, look, do I think he rigged the elections? Probably, yeah. I would say he probably rigged them when it looked like he was going to lose, or it looked like people were going to rise up against him. So at the end of the day, yeah, I do find it a little bit weird that mainstream media is covering this, but they try and discredit the Yellow Vest movement, which is basically the same thing, which is a bunch of people raising up against their government. So I do find that a little weird. But, you know, hey, we'll see what happens, I suppose. In the chat, I thought he elected himself. Yeah, I don't know if he elected himself. I think he took over from the previous president. But I do believe that he has gone through and made changes to the government that basically ensures that he will remain in power. So there's that. Florida Marquis goes the great depths about Venice. Big companies own the economic and the government. I'll have to check that out. If you've got a link to that mini, feel free to post it in chat. I'd like to check it out. But yeah, apart from that, guys, obviously at the end of the day, as for Venezuela, look, I think it was just a recipe for disaster. I really do think it was just a bad combination of a lot of things. Now, obviously, they weren't trying to push all these social platforms, and they weren't trying to go through and to seize all these properties. Then, obviously, that would make it easier. That would have made it a lot easier for Venezuela. Also, if they hadn't gone through and invested all their money into oil and relied on that so much, obviously, things would have been a lot better as well. But apart from that, guys, that's where I'm going to basically leave it today. It's only going to be a small one. There's not a lot of news out there. I'm going to be live streaming a game, so if you guys want to tune in to Gamers Cafe, link in the description below. The internet's kind of crappy, I know. The video's kind of crappy, I know, but it's going to get upgraded soon. As for the internet, guys, like I say, it will theoretically be upgraded anywhere from April through to July. I'm banking on April more than anything, mainly because I do actually have the connection to the house. It just hasn't been connected to the switch at the government yet. I'm waiting for the government to do their thing. And once that's connected, then I can get some guy to come out, hook it into my NBN, hook into my modem, and I'm off and ready to go. So that'd be kind of cool. But as for that, I just got to keep putting up with it between now and then. And yeah. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, if this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow's demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.